Okay, I'm starting over. So I've already started problem one. First one wasn't working. So number one, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Again, these can be the a's or the b's. So we have 14 squared plus 48 squared. So we have 2500 equals x squared. We take the square root of both of those. So x is going to be 50. Okay, if we take a look at the other one, again, we have an A and a B, or a B and an A. You can switch them, but this is always the C. So we're going to say 24 squared plus B squared, or x squared, equals 51 squared. So x squared is going to be 51 squared minus 24 squared. You can do that on your calculator. It's going to be 2025. Take the square root of both. So answer is 45. Okay, so please be careful. C always has to be alone. Okay, I'm going to move it up. Whoops, let it focus. Okay, on 3 and 4, again, we're going to take half of the triangle to find the h. This will be 24. This will be 25. So h squared plus 24 squared is 25 squared. So h squared is 25 squared minus 24 squared. So h squared is going to be 49, which means h is 7. Okay, remember, area of a triangle is base times height over 2. In this case, we take the 48, which is the full base, times the 7, divide by 2. So area is 168 meters squared. Okay, if we move to number 4, again, we do the same thing. So h, 15, and 17. So h squared plus 15 squared is going to be 17 squared. So h squared is going to be 17 squared minus 15 squared. So h squared is going to be 64. So h is going to be 8. Again, we do our formula. So full base times height you found divided by 2. So area is 120 centimeters squared. Okay, so here's 3 and 4 if you didn't get a good look at them. So I'm going to move it up, and I'm going to do 5 and 6. Okay, you're deciding if it represents a right triangle. So you have A, B, and C, and remember, C is always the largest. So we're going to compare 40 squared to 24 squared and 32 squared. So if we look at that, we have 24 squared plus 32 squared is going to be 1600. 40 squared, oops, 40 squared is going to be 1600. So yes, that is a right triangle. Okay, if we look at the other one, 11, 25, and 27, this is the C. So 27 squared is going to be compared to 11 squared and 25 squared. Okay, so 27 squared is 729. 11 squared plus 25 squared is 746. So this is not a right triangle. Okay, so again, you take the three numbers, the largest one is the C, you compare the C squared to the A and the B squared. So 5 is a yes, 6 is a not a right triangle. Okay, I'm going to turn the page. Okay, we're on 7 and 8. Okay, decide if they form a triangle, and if they form a triangle, are they acute, right, or obtuse? Okay, so to decide if it forms a right triangle, you line up the three sides, 14, 21, and 25, And then we do a comparison, 21 plus 25, 14 plus 25. We're comparing the other two sides to the third side, so 14 and 21. Okay, this is bigger, this is bigger, and this is bigger, so yes, it makes a right triangle. Now you've got to decide what kind. So we've got A, B, and C again. This is the C. So we're going to compare the 25 squared to the 14 squared plus the 21 squared. And once we solve that out, this is 625, this is 637. Okay, C squared is less than the A squared plus the B squared, so it is an acute. Okay, so if we move it over, then we're on number 8. Again, we do a comparison for the three sides, 32, 60, and 68. So 60 plus 68, 32 plus 68, and 32 plus 60. Okay, the 60 and the 68 is bigger, the 32 and the 68 is bigger, and the 32 and the 60 is bigger. So yes, it makes a right triangle. And then you're going to do a comparison. So A, B, and biggest one is always C. So 68 squared is going to be compared to 32 squared and 60 squared. 68 squared is 4,624. When you solve this out, it comes out to 4,624. So if they are equal, you are going to tell me it is a right triangle. Okay, so there's 7 and 8. Okay, let's move it up a little bit. I'll do 9 and 10. So again, we look at the 11, the 19, and the 32. So 19 and 32 have to be bigger. 11 and 32 have to be bigger. And 19 and 11 have to be bigger. Okay, so 19 and 32, 32 plus roughly 20 is bigger. 32 plus 11 is bigger, but if you get to the last one, 19 plus 11 is less than 30, so not a triangle, so you cannot decide if it is acute, right, or obtuse. Okay, so number 9, again, you proved that it's not a triangle, so you cannot decide on the acute, right, or obtuse. Okay, if we take a look at 10, 4, 2, and 5, so the 2 and 5, the 4 and 5, and the 4 and 2. 2 and 5 is 7, that's bigger. 4 and 5 is 9, that's bigger. And 4 and 2 is 6. So yes, it's a triangle. Okay, A, B, and C is always the largest. So 5 squared compared to 4 squared and 2 squared. 5 squared is 25. This one's 20. 25 is bigger than 20, so this is an obtuse. Okay, so there's 9 and 10. So pretty much that section, you have to first prove that it's a triangle by comparing each of the two sides, and then you use your C squared and compare it to the A squared plus B squared. Okay, if we move down to the next section, we're doing section 7.3. That's where you either draw the triangles or set up the ratios with the leg to leg or altitude to altitude. Okay, so these two are going to be leg to leg, or if we draw the triangles, we're going to have a baby triangle, a medium triangle, and a large triangle. Okay, so if you look at the baby triangle, that would be this one here. So its short side is a 3 and its long side is a 5. Okay, if you look at the medium triangle, we don't know enough about it, so we're not going to fill that one in. If you look at the large triangle, okay, the large triangle, we know that the short side is a 5. So if we put the short side here on the baby triangle, we're going to put the short side there. And if we look at, oh shoot, 5's in the wrong place here. Okay, sorry. So the baby triangle, remember this is the right angle, so that's the hypotenuse. So the 5 goes there, so you've got to correct. So baby triangle, short side is 3, hypotenuse is 5. if you look at the large triangle, the full triangle, short side is 5, so that goes there. But now hypotenuse is x plus 3. You've got to add this up. Okay, so we set up ratios. 5 over 3 equals x plus 3 over 5. Or you could do 5 over x plus 3 is 3 over 5. This is also the leg to leg, and then full hypotenuse to the part of the hypotenuse that touches the leg if you're using the words. Okay, if we cross multiply, we have 25 equals 3 times x plus 3. So 25 is 3x plus 9. We take away 9 from both sides. We have 16 is equal to 3x. Divide by 3, so x is going to be 5.3. Okay, so if we look at number 12, again, if we do the little triangle, medium triangle, and large triangle, okay, the baby triangle is here, and we don't really know a lot about it, so I'm not going to fill that one in. If you look at the medium triangle, you have a hypotenuse on the medium, and you have a long side on the medium, so I'm going to put that down there. If you look at the large triangle, okay, I put the long side here, so on the large triangle, I'm going to put the long side here, and then we know the hypotenuse is going to be x. So we're going to do 9 over 7 equals x over 9. If you were doing the leg to leg, again, here's your leg, so leg to leg, then full hypotenuse is the x, to the part of the hypotenuse that touches the leg is the 7. So we do 81 is equal to 7x. If we divide, x is 11.6. Okay, so there's 11 and 12 to take a quick look at. Okay, I'm going to move it up. Okay, we're going to do 13, so if we do the little triangle, the medium triangle, and the large triangle. Okay, if we look at the baby triangle, the short side is a 4 and the long side is an x. Okay, if we look at the medium triangle, the short side is an x, the long side is a 9, and then actually the large triangle we know only the hypotenuse. So we're going to do 4 over x is x over 9. If you're doing the word problems, it's altitude to altitude and part of the hypotenuse to the other part of the hypotenuse. So x squared is 36, so x is 6. Okay, if you take a look at 14, again, if we do the 3 triangles, small, medium, large. Okay, if we look at the baby triangle, the short side is an x, the long side is a 12. If we look at the medium triangle, the short side is a 12, the long side is a 16, and then really all you know is the 16 plus the x for the hypotenuse of the large. So we're going to use this setup. So x over 12 is equal to 12 over 16. Again, if you're using the words, altitude to altitude, part of the hypotenuse to the other part of the hypotenuse. So 144 is equal to 16x. So x is going to be 24. So that should take care of section 7.3. Okay, if we look at section 7.4, okay, find the value of each variable. Okay, these are the 30, 60, 90s and the 45, 45s. Okay, so if we look at this one, if that's a 60, this has to be a 30. If I draw my other triangle, 60, 30, there's my pattern. Remember, across from the 30 is the 1, across from the 60 is square root of 3, and across from the hypotenuse is a 2. Okay, so we set up our ratios. I don't have a lot of room here. Okay, your ratio is going to be, let's see, so let's go 1 over g equals square root of 3 over h. equals 18 over 2. Okay, so if we solve 1 over g is equal to 18 over 2, 2 is going to equal 18 times g. Oh, shoot. Okay. Sorry, I did what some of you accidentally do as I'm running through this, so I'm going to make a correction. Okay, if you look, we did 1 square root of 3, so we did this triangle on top, so this should have been, sorry, 2 over 18. Okay, so let's adjust that. So we're going to do, okay, this is 17 down here. I'm just going to take this space. So again, we rewrote it as 1 over g, so we did this triangle on top, so square root of 3 over h, so I should have done 2 over 18, so I had that turned around. So let's use this one first. So 1 over g is going to equal 2 over 18, so 18 is going to be 2 times g, so our g will be 9. Okay, and then let's do this piece here, so square root of 3 over h is going to equal 2 over 18. Okay, so 2h is going to equal 18 times square root of 3. Divide both sides by 2, so h is going to be 9 square roots of 3. Okay, so please disregard this. Like I said, I accidentally put the 18 on top, so you want to go 1 over g, 2 over 18, and square root of 3 over h. Okay, so I'm going to do the one right below it since I kind of goofed up this one so you can kind of see it again, and then I'll go up to 16. Okay, so if we draw in our pattern that looks just like it, okay, this is a 30, so that's a 60, so if this is a 30 and a 60, my pattern is 1, across from this is square root of 3 and 2. Okay, so now we'll be able to tell this a little bit better since I goofed that one up. Okay, we can do either this on top or this on top. So I'm going to say square root of 3 over m. And I'm going to stay with this triangle. So I'm going to say 1 over 5. And then I'm going to stay with this triangle again. So 2 over n. Okay, so we're going to have to solve two different things using this piece here. So square root of 3 over m is 1 over 5. We cross multiply, m is 5 times square root of 3. Okay, then we do the 1 over 5 equals 2 over n. So n is going to be 10. Okay, so again, follow your pattern. Okay, there's a look at 15 and 17. Now I'll go up and do 16 and 18. Okay, 16 and 18 is the other pattern. So if you follow your 45-45 pattern, it's going to be 1, 1, square roots of 2. So we're going to say 1 over a equals 1 over b equals square root of 2. And again, so I'm staying on top with this triangle. Square root of 2 over 9 square roots of 2. Okay, you only have to do one of these because they're going to be the same. So 1 over b is going to be square root of 2 over 9 square roots of 2. So we cross multiply, 9 square roots of 2 is equal to square root of 2 times b. Divide by square root of 2, so b is going to be 9. Okay, and then whatever b is, a has to be also, so a and b are both 9. Okay, if you take a look at that. Okay, I'm going to move it up and I'm going to do the 18. So again, it's a 45-45. So I do my pattern this way, 45-45, 1, 1, square roots of 2. Okay, so we do 1 over x. So 1 over x, 1 over 7, and square root of 2 over y. So again, I use this pattern on top, 1 over this, 1 over that, square root of 2 over y. Okay, so if we cross multiply, 1 over x is equal to 1 over 7, so x is 7. If we solve the other one, 1 over 7 is square root of 2 over y. Y is 7 square roots of 2. Okay, so that takes care of 15, 16, 17, and 18. Okay, so I'm going to move up to 19 and 20. Okay, one will be a 45, 45, the other will be a 30, 60, 90, so 45, 45. Again, here's my pattern. Okay, so my hypotenuse is going to be the square root of 2, and then my sides are going to be 1 1s because this is a 45, 45. So we're going to do 1 over s equals 1 over t equals square root of 2 over 15. Okay, again, you're only going to have to solve for one of these because they're going to be the same. So 1 over t is equal to square root of 2 over 15. So 15 is going to be square root of 2 times t. We divide by square root of 2. So 15 over square root of 2 has to be rationalized. Remember, you have to get rid of the denominator. That is a radical. So 15 with times the square root of 2 over square root of 2. So these are different. You leave it as 15 times square root of 2 over plane 2. So you can leave that answer, or you can say 7.5 times square root of 2. I'll take either of those answers would be correct. Okay, so both of those are okay. Okay, so let's finish number 20. Okay, so we do our pattern. Okay, so this is a 60, so this was a 30. Okay, so our pattern is 1 square roots of 3 over 2. Okay, so we're going to do 1 over w equals, so we did this over this, so we're going to do square root of 3 over 10 square roots of 3 equals 2 over v. Okay, so this is going to be the messy one. So 1 over w is square root of 3 over 10 square roots of 3. Okay, so 1 times 10 square roots of 3 is 10 square roots of 3 equals square root of 3 times w. We divide by square root of 3, so w is going to be a 10. Okay, if we do the other one, now we're going to do square root of 3 over 10 square roots of 3 is equal to 2 over v. So 2 times 10 is 20. Square roots of 3 is equal to square root of 3 times v. We divide by square root of 3. So v is going to be, remember, these cancel, just like those canceled, so v is 20. Okay, so that takes care of the 30, 60, 90, 45, 45s. Okay, now we're going to start our trig stuff. So hopefully everybody is pretty good at this. Okay, we're standing there. So opposite, hypotenuse, adjacent. We have these two. So it's going to be tan of 27 is equal to opposite over adjacent. We cross multiply. X is going to be tan of 27 times 12, or 6.1. Okay, if we look at the middle one, we're standing here. This becomes the opposite. Hypotenuse is always across from the right angle, and so left over is adjacent. Okay, we have these two, so opposite and adjacent is going to be tan again, and actually it said tan, so I guess we know we're going to use that. So tangent of 69 is opposite over x. Okay, so 25 is going to equal tan of 69 times x. We're going to divide both sides by tan of 69. So x is going to be 9.6. Okay, last one, we're standing here. So opposite, hypotenuse, adjacent. So tan of 41 is going to be x over 19. We cross multiply, x is going to be tan of 41 times 19. So x is going to be 16.5. Okay, if we go to the last page, so here's our start of our trig. Okay, so we're doing trig again. I'm going to stand here. I'm going to do opposite, hypotenuse, and adjacent. I need two things, so I'm going to do two trig ratios. So I have a hypotenuse, so I can do sine of 44 equals opposite over 14. Again, we're going to cross multiply. X is going to be sine of 44 times 14, or X is going to be, whoops, forgot to solve. Okay, so sine of 44 times 14. Okay, so 9.7. Okay, if we do our other one, we now have adjacent, so now we're going to say cosine of 44 is adjacent over hypotenuse. We're going to cross multiply again, cosine of 44 times 14. So cosine of 44 times 14, y is going to be 10.1. Okay, so if we look at this one, we're going to stand here, so opposite, hypotenuse, adjacent. So I can do sine of 32 is going to be opposite over hypotenuse. So 8 is going to be sine of 32 times y. So we divide both sides by sine of 32. So y is going to be 8 divided by sine of 32. So 15.1. Okay, then we have to do the x. So now we have these two. So tangent is opposite and adjacent. So tangent 32 is going to be 8 over x. It's going to be the same idea as this. So 8 equals tan of 32 times x. We just divide by the tan of 32. So x is going to be 8 divided by tan of 32, or 12.8. Okay, so you had two ratios because you had two sides you had to find. So if we look at 26, we're standing on the 26, opposite, hypotenuse, adjacent. Okay, so we have the adjacent, so we can do tangent first. So tangent of 26 is y over 17. So we cross multiply. Y is going to be tan of 26 times 17. So tan of 26 times 17 is going to be 8.3. Okay, and then we can do, that was the y, so the x, so these two would be a and h, so we can do cosine of 26 is adjacent over hypotenuse. So same thing again, 1 times 17 is equal to cosine of 26 times x. We're going to divide both sides by cosine of 26. So x is going to be 17 divided by cosine of 26, or 18.9. Okay, so again, you had to do two ratios for each of these because you were missing an x and a y. So we were standing on the angles, labeling, and then doing our ratios. And that should take care of 24, 25, and 26. Okay, if I move it up, now I'm going to do 27 and 28. So I'm standing here, opposite, hypotenuse, adjacent. Okay, so we have the adjacent, so we're going to do cosine of 54 is going to be adjacent over x. So we cross multiply. 5.7 is cosine of 54 times x. We divide by cosine of 54. So x is going to be 5.7 divided by cosine of 54. So x is going to be 9.7. Then we're going to use adjacent and hypotenuse. Or no, we just shoot. Okay, cosine of 54 opposite. We just did 5.7 over x. Okay, so that should have been the y. Sorry. I'm making a lot of mistakes tonight. Sorry, I just wanted to get this done for you. Okay, so we did cosine of 54 is adjacent over hypotenuse. So adjacent and hypotenuse are cosine, so sorry, that should have been the y. I'm watching my answers and then watching this, and I guess I goofed it up. Okay, so 5.7 is cosine of 54 times y. We divide both sides by the cosine of 54, so y is going to be 9.7. Okay, now we've got to deal with the x and the adjacent, so that's going to be tangent. So tangent of 54 is going to be x over 5.7. So we cross multiply. Tan of 54 times 5.7, x is going to be tan of 54 times 5.7, so 7.8. Okay, I apologize. Yeah, remember, please be careful. Again, I know there's a lot on here. Okay, so cosine is adjacent and hypotenuse. That's why that should have been a y. And then tangent is opposite and adjacent. So there's my x. Okay, let's see if I can not screw it up for this one. Okay, we're standing here. So opposite, hypotenuse, adjacent. So we can do opposite and adjacent. So we can do tan of 14 is going to be opposite over adjacent. Okay, so we're going to cross multiply. 4 is going to be tan of 14 times x. So we're going to divide by tan of 14. So x is going to be 4 divided by the tan of 14, or 16.0. Okay, then we use the opposite and the hypotenuse. So now we're going to pick sine of 14 is going to be opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, so we cross multiply. 4 is equal to sine of 14 times y. We divide by sine of 14. So y is going to be 4 divided by sine of 14, or 16.5. Okay, so here's your trig stuff again. Be careful. Put the x's and the y's in the right location. Don't goof it up like I did. Make sure if it's opposite and adjacent, it's opposite over adjacent. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, bottom ones. Remember, solve the right triangle means find everything. Okay, so the first thing we can do is actually find this side. So that's an a or a b. So we can do a squared plus 10 squared is equal to 15 squared. So a squared is going to be 15 squared minus 10 squared. So 15 squared minus 10 squared is going to be a squared is 125. If I take the square root of that, my a is going to be 11.2. Okay, so I've just found all three sides. Now we have to do angles. Again, you get to stand either at A or B. I'm going to stand at B. So this is opposite, this is hypotenuse, this is adjacent. Okay, I have opposite and hypotenuse, so I'm going to pick sine right away. So sine of, remember this is where your x is, sine of x is going to be opposite over hypotenuse. Remember, this is a second button. So you're going to go second sine of 10 divided by 15. So our angle B is going to be 41.8. And then our third angle, we're going to go 180 minus 90 minus 41.8 to get our last angle. So 180 minus 90 minus 41.8. So angle, the last angle is going to be 48.2, and that's going to be angle A. So you've found the last side and both angles. Okay, if you'd like to take a look at this one, we know one side and one angle, so I'm going to stand here, opposite, hypotenuse, and adjacent. I can do either one of these first. I'm going to choose tan. It doesn't matter which one I choose, but I'm going to choose tan because opposite and adjacent. So I'm going to say tan of 37 is going to be opposite over adjacent. Okay, we cross multiply. O is going to be tan of 37 times 6. So tan of 37 times 6. So opposite side is going to be 4.5. Okay, and if I choose adjacent and hypotenuse, that's going to be cosine. So cosine of 37 is going to be adjacent 6 over hypotenuse. I cross multiply. 6 is equal to cosine of 37 times h. I'm going to divide by cosine of 37. So h is going to be 6 divided by cosine of 37. So that side is going to be 7.5. Okay, don't forget you can also do Pythagorean theorem in here instead. Now if we find our last angle, so 180 minus 90 minus 37. So angle L is going to be 180 minus 90 minus 37, or 53 degrees. Okay, so that's both sides and your angle. Okay, two more. Alright, if we take a look at this one, we don't know any angles, but we do know sides, so I'm going to stand on D. So opposite, hypotenuse, adjacent. I know O and A, so I'm going to use tan. So tangent of my missing angle is going to be opposite over adjacent. So we do our second tan, 5 divided by 12. So angle D is going to be 22.6 degrees. Okay, we can find angle E right away, because remember it's 180 minus 90 minus 22.6, or 67.4 degrees. Okay, and then we can find our third side. These are the A's and the B's, so 12 squared and 5 squared is hypotenuse squared. So 12 squared plus 5 squared is going to be 169. So h is going to be second button, which is square root of 169. So h is 13. Okay, last one. We know an angle, so we're going to stand there. Opposite, hypotenuse, adjacent. Okay, we can do our other angle right away. Remember 180 minus 90 minus 25. Okay, so this angle is going to be 65. Okay, we can do opposite and hypotenuse for sine. So we can do sine of 25 is going to be opposite over 25. We cross multiply. O is going to be sine of 25 times 25. So sine of 25 times 25. So O is going to be 10.6. Okay, then we can do adjacent and hypotenuse. So we could do cosine of 25. It's going to be adjacent over 25. We cross multiply again. So cosine of 25 times 25. Adjacent is going to be cosine of 25 times 25 is going to be 22.7. Okay, so that would take care of anything I don't get to in class.